All right, so we're diving deep today
Mm-hmm.
into making accountable decisions.
Yeah.
And we're going to take Sam Silverstein's wisdom and apply it to you.
Yeah.
What I thought was so cool about this book
Mm-hmm.
was that it wasn't like every other self-help book out there.
Yeah.
He uses stories from his own life
Yeah.
to illustrate
Yeah.
these really powerful principles about decision-making,
Yeah.
which made it like super relatable and engaging to me.
Yeah, what's interesting is he goes beyond like the surface level advice.
Uh-huh.
So he's not just telling you to go out and make good choices,
Right.
but he digs into like the why behind these choices.
Yeah.
And he really argues that like
Oh, yeah.
it's our beliefs
Okay.
that are driving every decision we make,
Yeah.
and that those decisions are what create like the foundation for everything else in our lives.
Okay, so let's break down this decisions as foundational concept.
Sure.
So Silverstein shares this story about an executive director, and she goes on this family trip to Hawaii
Yeah.
and ends up like living her dream
Wow.
of traveling the world and teaching leadership.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't something that she had like actively planned for.
Right.
But that trip like sparked something in her.
Think about a time when you've had a similar experience, maybe a random event
Okay.
that led to an unexpected opportunity.
Right.
Silverstein suggests
Okay.
that by visualizing your future,
Okay.
even if it's just like a vague idea,
Uh-huh.
you can actually like open yourself up to those kinds of possibilities.
Okay.
So it's like setting an intention.
Right.
And that intention starts to shape your reality.
So it's not just daydreaming.
Exactly.
It's actively shaping your future.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, Silverstein dives into this whole question of value, too.
Uh-huh.
And he says that we often don't realize how much something means to us until it's gone.
Yeah.
Like, we use this analogy of losing your wallet or
Right.
your keys, you know, and it's like that moment of panic
Oh, totally.
where you realize how much you rely on those things.
Absolutely.
And then he connects that feeling to the relationships in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
saying that, like, those connections are far more precious
Yeah.
than any material possession. But we just take them for granted until there's a threat of losing them.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
what relationships in your life are you truly grateful for?
That's a good question.
And are you expressing that gratitude, or are you taking those connections for granted?
That's a great question to reflect on.
Yeah.
And speaking of reflection, Silverstein really emphasizes the power of thought.
Yeah.
Like, our thoughts
Our thoughts.
really shape our decisions and our reality.
Absolutely.
And he talks about this COO who had all these limiting beliefs
Okay.
about workers without college degrees
Mm-hmm.
and just assuming that they couldn't grasp complex concepts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting is he doesn't advocate for like just ignoring negative thoughts. Instead, he encourages us to become more aware of our thought patterns
Okay.
and to make like a conscious effort
Mhm.
to choose thoughts that empower us rather than limit us.
Okay.
And he argues that this conscious choice can lead to dramatically different results in our lives.
So it's not about pretending everything is rosy.
Yeah.
It's about taking control of your internal narrative.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Now, another thing that stood out to me was Silverstein's emphasis on spiritual balance,
Mm-hmm.
not just work-life balance.
Right.
He even talks about going on a silent retreat
Oh, wow.
to like reconnect with himself.
This concept might seem a bit esoteric to some people,
Yeah.
but think of it this way. Just like your physical body
Okay.
needs nourishment and rest,
Uh-huh.
you know, your inner self needs to be nurtured as well.
Right.
So whether that's through meditation, spending time in nature,
That's
or simply taking a few minutes each day for quiet reflection,
Sure.
creating space for stillness can help you recharge and reconnect with what truly matters.
That makes sense.
What are some ways you find that inner balance?
That's a great question. And I think it ties in perfectly with Silverstein's emphasis on finding your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, he shares this really honest story about waking up one day and realizing he was just going through the motions, not really living with intention.
This waking up moment
Yeah.
led him on this search for his purpose.
Yeah.
And he argues that understanding your own why can infuse your life with so much more meaning.
Okay.
So everything you do, your work, your relationships, your hobbies,
Right.
take on a new level of significance when you understand how it contributes to your overall purpose.
So it's not just about finding your passion.
Right.
It's about understanding how your actions contribute to something bigger than yourself.
Exactly.
Now, sometimes finding your purpose means having the courage to change,
Uh-huh.
to admit when you're on the wrong path
Yeah.
and make a different choice.
Mm.
Silverstein shares this incredibly impactful story about Shane,
Oh, yeah.
who was an inmate,
Okay.
who found redemption and this sense of purpose through faith-based programs.
Shane's story is such a powerful example
Yes.
of how leadership can emerge from unexpected places.
Yeah.
And it really challenges us to question our assumptions about who is capable of growth and transformation.
Mm-hmm.
What stood out to you about Shane's journey?
I think for me, it was his willingness to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to admit his faults,
Mm-hmm.
and embrace the possibility of change.
Yeah.
And that ties in perfectly with Silverstein's core concept of no matter what.
Okay.
This idea of unwavering commitment.
Right. I
Yeah.
love that concept.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how he doesn't just like introduce it and then move on.
Right.
He dedicates a whole section to exploring this no matter what concept.
Right.
He shows how it can transform like our relationships,
Right.
our work,
Yeah.
even our sense of self.
That section really resonated with me. He describes no matter what as this unwavering commitment,
Yeah.
this dedication
Mm-hmm.
that goes beyond just saying yes to something.
It's about action.
Right. It's about demonstrating that commitment
Yeah.
through your actions consistently, even when faced with obstacles.
Yeah. He uses this powerful analogy of a plant
Okay.
pushing through the earth to reach sunlight.
Okay.
You know, it's a struggle, but it's essential for growth.
Right.
And Silverstein suggests that this same principle applies to our own lives. Those challenges we face.
Okay.
Those moments when we want to give up,
Right.
those are the very moments that test our commitment and ultimately lead to growth.
So it's about embracing those difficult moments.
Yeah,
Knowing that they're part of the process.
exactly.
Now, Silverstein doesn't just like throw around this no matter what phrase
Right.
without providing some context.
Yeah.
He actually breaks it down into these different levels of commitment, starting with opinions, then moving to actions, and finally reaching the level of non-negotiables.
So think about it this way.
Okay.
You might have an opinion about wanting to be healthier,
Sure.
but that's just a thought.
Right.
Taking action means actually changing your diet or starting an exercise routine.
Okay.
But it's those non-negotiables, those core values that you refuse to compromise on,
Yeah.
that truly shape your behavior and determine your level of commitment.
Right.
What are some non-negotiables in your own life?
That's a really powerful question to consider.
Yeah.
And Silverstein emphasizes that true commitment goes beyond just making a promise.
Uh-huh.
It's about demonstrating that dedication through your actions consistently so that people know what to expect from you.
Right. He shares a very personal story
Okay.
about his working relationship with his assistant, Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
They went through years of communication struggles,
Wow.
but ultimately it was their shared commitment to their work. That no matter what attitude that allowed them to overcome those obstacles and build a truly effective partnership.
That story really highlights the transformative power of commitment,
Yeah.
especially in those challenging relationships.
Mhm.
It's about showing up for each other,
Yeah.
being willing to work through those difficult moments, and never giving up on the relationship.
And he stresses that this level of commitment requires clarity.
Yep.
It's about being intentional about what you're committing to and why it matters.
Right.
He argues that when you're clear about your goals and your values,
Mm-hmm.
it's much easier to stay committed even when faced with distractions
Right.
or temptations to stray from your path.
So it's about making conscious choices,
Yes,
aligning your actions with your values, and communicating those choices clearly to others.
exactly.
Now, Silverstein also makes it clear that commitment should be based on equality and fairness, not on power dynamics or manipulation.
Yeah.
He emphasizes that leaders have a responsibility to set the example, demonstrating that no matter what attitude in their own behavior, and creating a culture where everyone feels valued and respected regardless of their position or title.
So it's about creating like a level playing field
Right.
where everyone is bought into the shared goals and values
Of the team.
of the team or organization.
Now, Silverstein doesn't shy away from the fact that true commitment requires courage.
Right.
It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone, embracing the unknown, and trusting that you have the strength and resilience to face whatever challenges come your way.
Imagine for a moment that you're standing at the edge of a cliff,
Okay.
about to take a leap of faith.
Okay.
That feeling of uncertainty, that
Yeah.
fear of the unknown,
Right.
that's often what holds us back from making those big commitments.
Mm-hmm.
But Silverstein argues that playing it safe can often lead to regret.
Okay.
It's in those moments of courage
Yeah.
when we choose to commit fully
Right.
That we open ourselves up to the greatest possibilities for growth and fulfillment.
He's essentially saying that taking that leap of faith,
Yeah.
making that commitment, even when it feels scary,
Yeah.
is often the key to unlocking our true potential.
Exactly.
Now, something else that really struck me about Silverstein's approach to commitment
Uh-huh.
is that he views it as a source of freedom,
Okay.
not restriction.
Interesting.
It might seem counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But he argues that when you're truly committed to something, when your actions are aligned with your values,
Okay.
you experience a sense of liberation
Yeah.
that comes from living a life that's authentic to yourself.
It's about making choices that are in alignment with your true self.
Right.
Rather than feeling pressured to conform
Yes.
to external
The
expectations.
societal pressures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This idea of finding freedom through commitment might seem paradoxical.
Yeah.
But it's a concept worth pondering.
Right.
When have you felt a sense of liberation after committing to something that truly mattered to you?
That's such a great question to reflect on. Now, throughout this discussion, Silverstein emphasizes that no matter what isn't just some catchy phrase.
Right.
It's a philosophy that produces tangible results.
Okay.
He lists qualities like trust, respect, loyalty, credibility, influence, and of course, accountability
Right.
as natural outcomes of this unwavering commitment.
Yeah, these qualities are the cornerstones
Right.
of strong relationships, thriving organizations, and fulfilling lives.
Yeah.
And without commitment,
Mm-hmm.
we're left with uncertainty, instability, and doubt.
Right.
And it's difficult to build anything truly meaningful on that kind of foundation.
Sure.
But when we commit,
Mm-hmm.
when we embrace that no matter what mindset,
Yeah.
we create a solid ground from which to grow,
Yeah.
connect,
Yeah.
and achieve our goals.
And he reminds us that this kind of commitment is fueled by passion.
Passion.
It's that fire in our bellies that keeps us going when things get tough, that inspires others to join us on our mission. He argues that leaders especially need to be passionate about their vision,
Absolutely.
about their people,
Yeah.
about the impact they're trying to make in the world.
That passion becomes contagious,
Right.
inspiring others to believe in the mission
Yeah.
and contribute their own energy and talents.
And while passion is essential,
Yeah.
he also stresses the importance of being mindful
Okay.
of what we commit to. It's about thinking before we speak,
Right.
ensuring that our commitments are in alignment with our values and our capacity to follow through.
So it's not about blindly saying yes to every request or opportunity.
Right.
It's about being intentional, about honoring our word,
Yeah.
and about building a reputation of
Right.
reliability and trustworthiness.
Now, another key element of commitment that Silverstein highlights is honesty and transparency.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
He argues that true commitment requires authenticity, letting people see our true selves,
Yeah.
and creating a culture where vulnerability is valued and supported.
He shares a powerful example
Okay.
of how this kind of transparency transformed his working relationship with his assistant, Sharon,
Right.
by being open and honest with each other, even about their struggles and shortcomings.
Yeah.
They were able to work through their communication difficulties
Right.
and build a truly strong and supportive partnership.
That story really shows how vulnerability can be a source of strength and how authentic connection is essential for building trust and achieving shared goals.
Yes.
It's about letting go of the need to be perfect,
Right.
to have all the answers, and to control every outcome.
Yeah.
It's about being willing to be seen,
Yeah.
to be imperfect,
Yeah.
and to trust that others will accept and support us,
Yeah.
even in those messy human moments.
Yeah. It's powerful to think about how vulnerability can actually, create stronger connections and open up new possibilities.
Yeah.
And it ties in with Silverstein's overall message of accountability. But he's not just talking about following rules or meeting deadlines. Right.
He's talking about making choices that reflect your values, your commitments, and your aspirations.
It's about taking ownership of our lives. The choices we make, the impact we have on others.
Right.
Showing up authentically, being present in each moment, and consciously working towards creating a more positive and just world.
Like he's giving us this roadmap for living with intention,
Yeah.
but he acknowledges that it's a journey,
Right.
not a destination.
It's a process.
Yeah. And that there will be times when we make mistakes,
Of course.
when we fall short of our own expectations.
Those moments can be challenging,
Right.
but they're also opportunities for growth.
Exactly.
Silverstein encourages us to view those setbacks not as failures,
Right.
but as learning experiences.
Yeah.
He emphasizes the importance of having the courage to admit when we're wrong, make amends, and choose a new path.
It's about recognizing that growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah,
In those moments when we're stretched and challenged to think differently, to do things differently.
absolutely.
And something else that really resonates with me is Silverstein's emphasis on community.
Community, yeah.
He reminds us that we don't have to do this alone.
We don't have to go it alone.
Yeah.
He talks about the power of leaning on each other, supporting each other, and learning from each other's experiences.
Yeah.
He encourages us to build communities of accountability,
Right.
where we can encourage each other to grow,
Yeah.
to strive for our best selves, and to make a positive impact in the world.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, that we each have unique strengths and talents to offer, and that we can achieve far more when we collaborate, support each other,
Yes.
and hold each other accountable to our highest aspirations.
Now, to bring all of this back to making accountable decisions,
Yeah.
think about what resonated with you the most.
Okay.
What idea or story stuck with you? This book offers so many valuable insights and tools for navigating the complexities of life,
Right.
but it's up to you to take those tools and apply them in a way that feels meaningful and authentic to your own journey.
So often we read a book,
Yeah,
we get inspired,
right.
and then life gets in the way.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Silverstein doesn't want that to happen here. He
Yeah.
wants you to really consider, how can you make accountability an ongoing practice,
Mm.
a way of life,
Yeah.
rather than just a fleeting moment of inspiration?
And he leaves us with this powerful thought.
Okay.
He argues that even in the face of challenging circumstances, happiness is a choice.
Okay.
How does that perspective shift your approach to navigating difficulties? Does it empower you?
Yeah.
Or does it feel challenging to consider happiness as a choice rather than a result of external factors?
It really gets to the heart of personal accountability.
Yes.
It's about recognizing that we have more control over our emotional state
Yeah.
than we often realize. And it's about choosing to focus on what's good,
Yeah.
to find joy in the everyday moments,
Right.
and to cultivate a mindset of gratitude, even when things are tough.
As we wrap up this deep dive into making accountable decisions,
Yes.
we encourage you to continue exploring these ideas, to apply these insights to your own life, and to see what positive changes you can create,
Right.
both for yourself and for the world around you.
Remember, the power to make accountable decisions lies within each and every one of us.
It does.
It's a choice,
It is.
a commitment, and a journey that unfolds with every step we take.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We'll see you next time, ready to explore new ideas and uncover those hidden gems of knowledge that can help us all live more intentionally and make a positive impact in the world.